Welcome to the next video on supply chain management. In this video, we will deal with supply chain drivers and metrics. This is chapter 3 of the textbook Supply Chain Management by Sunil Chopra, Peter Mendel and D.V. Kalra. This chapter has 3 modules. First module deals with major drivers of supply chain performance. Second module deals with the role of each driver in the supply chain strategy and the competitive strategy. And the third module, it deals with key metrics of each supply chain driver. A supply chain performance needs to be monitored very frequently to see whether the supply chain is performing as it is desired. So, drivers of supply chain performance. Let us look at when you go to a doctor and if you are not feeling well, it will conduct several of the tests. These tests could be like temperature, another could be blood pressure, third could be respiratory rate, another could be pulse rate, and there could be ECG, and there could be several other tests he may perform. These tests indicate to the doctor whether your body is performing properly or not. Either one or more than one of these performances of blood pressure, temperature, ECG, respiratory rate or pulse, it will indicate whether something is wrong with the body. And based on that, the doctor will prescribe the medicine or the precautions that you need to take. Similarly, in the case with the supply chain management also. So, how do we measure the supply chain performance? For that, we have got several of similar kind of indicators that we will use. Based on those indicators, we will be able to know whether the supply chain performance is within the desirable range or it is outside. And in case it is outside, then in that case we may have to take several actions, just like the doctor suggests medicines and procedures. Performance is also measured when you drive a motor vehicle. So on that motor vehicle, you may have several indicators. These indicators may indicate what is the engine pressure, what is the speed, what is the engine speed, this is the vehicle speed, and what is the oil pressure. Even though many things are changing inside when you are driving a vehicle, but there are only few which could be critical for the performance of the vehicle. Similarly, there are many things in the supply chain that we can measure, but we will be interested only in few which are critical to know the critical performance of the supply chain. Now, when we measure the performance of a supply chain, it can be of two kinds. One could be financial and second could be operational. Financial measurement is something with which senior managers they are interested in. Operational performance is something in which people who are dealing with logistics, people who are dealing with supply chain, they are interested in. It is by changing the operational parameters that the financial parameters will also undergo change. More or less in this chapter, we will be dealing with operational supply chain measuring performance. What are those factors which drive the performance of supply chains? There are 6 major drivers of supply chain performance, which can be classified into 2 categories. First is logistical and second is cross-functional. In the logistical category, we have 3 supply chain drivers. One is facility, second is inventory, and third is transportation. Facility, inventory, and transportation, they deal directly with the material. Either the material is transformed, or the material is stored, or the material is moved. Then there are three other supply chain performance drivers. These are information, sourcing, and pricing. Unlike the first three, these three are not directly dealing with the material. Information is information about the facilities, about the inventory, and about the transportation, and also about pricing and sourcing. Sourcing is about how to get the materials and operations done. So sourcing is about transportation. You may source or outsource transportation. You may outsource inventory management or warehouses, or you may outsource some of the production also. And last one is about pricing. Pricing is about the price at which you buy or sell the products. Let us briefly look at each of these supply chain drivers, and later we will have separate modules on each of these supply chain drivers. Facility is about physical locations of the facilities, which could be warehouses, which could be factories, or which could be retailers. Here, goods are physically stored, they are transformed, or they are sold. Inventory is about raw material inventory, WIP, all work in progress inventory, and finished goods. Third is transportation. Transportation is about moving the goods or inventory from one facility to another. These three are logistical supply chain drivers. Next one is about information. Information is about data and analysis concerning the facilities, about inventory, about transportation, about pricing, and about customers. Sourcing is who is going to perform these activities. Who is going to perform the activities of facilities, which is production, assembly. Who is going to perform the activities of inventory or warehouses, and who is going to perform the activities of transportation, which might be outsourced, and maybe who is going to perform the activities related to information, because these days information processing is also outsourced. Last one is about pricing. And pricing deals with how much a firm is going to charge for the goods and services that it buys and sells. The 6 supply chain drivers that we have seen, they affect the supply chain performance. They affect the efficiency of the supply chain, and they also affect the responsiveness of the supply chain. These 6 supply chain drivers, they are interrelated, which means if you change inventory, if you wish to have high inventory, you may require slower transportation. Your facilities, they need not require higher capacity, and they need not be located close by. And if your inventory is high, then it also affects your pricing, because you may have to give the discounts to reduce the inventory. And in same way, other supply chain drivers like transportation, they also affect the efficiency. If you use a faster transportation, it is going to improve your responsiveness, but it is going to reduce your efficiency because it is going to cost more. Similarly, if you have larger number of facilities, it is going to make the supply chain more responsive, because the distance between the facilities is going to be smaller, and therefore goods can be moved faster. But if you have more number of facilities, it is going to cost higher, and therefore it is going to affect your efficiency. So these 6 supply chain drivers, not only they affect the efficiency and responsiveness, but they also affect each other. That is what we are going to see in the subsequent slides. Thank you.